So, what could possibly be so bright at an already well-lit time of day? Throughout the history of the human race as well as the larger history of the universe, there have been a number of extraordinary events that are challenging to explain or predict. Other occurrences are predictable and expected but definitely astonishing and marveling. Nature can produce events that sometimes feel magical or unbelievable. From unexplainable events such as strange rains, mysterious objects falling from the sky, and meteorite finds to unusual cosmic phenomena, Mother Nature always seems to have one trick up her sleeve. These events encourage curiosity and wonder about the natural world, blurring the lines between what is familiar and what is extraordinary. Why don't we look at the events that astonished everyone with their incredible and yet life-threatening presence? The Fukang meteorite in China is world-renowned as the most spectacular example of natural cosmic splendor. The Fukang palisite will undoubtedly become one of the greatest meteorite discoveries of the 21st century. Palisites are extremely rare even among meteorites. Only about 1% of all meteorites are this type, and of the meteorites they are by far the most alluring. This awe-inspiring main mass weighs over 810 pounds, or over 370 kilograms. The Fukang meteorite was found in the mountains near Fukang, China in 2000. It is a palisite, a type of stony iron meteorite with olivine crystals. It is estimated to be 4.5 billion years old. Part of the Fukang meteorite is housed at the Natural History Museum in Vienna. It has a 36 by 19-inch polished face, providing a window into its wondrous mosaic of extraterrestrial crystals. This unparalleled discovery is an astounding treasure, a phenomenal and prestigious centerpiece for any natural history exhibit. The Fukang meteorite left us all in disbelief, with many wondering about its cosmic beauty. As we all know, not all celestial visitors are as elegant. Just a few years ago, the villagers in Gujarat, India, a few thousand miles from China, were left wondering what on earth it was that had rained down on them. What was this unusual piece of space debris? Falling space junk in Gujarat, India, left villagers confused and curious as fragments of suspected debris fell from space at 3 locations: Balita, Kalaga, and Rampura. Thankfully, no one was hurt, but the incident attracted a lot of attention from locals and scientists alike. In January 2020, something pretty strange happened when bits of space debris fell to Earth in the village of Laxmira. This debris, which is thought to be from a satellite or rocket, caused quite a stir in the local community. The space junk included bits of metal and other pieces that landed in a field. These pieces were part of space objects that broke up when they re-entered Earth's atmosphere. When the debris was found, the authorities collected it to analyze it. Scientists wanted to understand where the junk came from and what impact it would have. Such events often help to study such incidents, learn more about how space objects behave when they fall back to Earth, and ensure the safety of people and property. In another bizarre event, a video of alleged worm rain in China posted on March 11th is making rounds on social media, with people speculating for a logical reason that could explain the erratic rains. Reports said that people could be seen carrying umbrellas to save themselves from getting hit by worms falling from the sky in China. The event lasted for about 2 hours and covered a small area of the city. The reason behind the worm rain is not known yet. However, the scientific journal Mother Nature Network suggests that the slimy creatures were dropped after being swept up by heavy winds. This video, shared widely on social media, showed that in China it was raining worms. The video from the capital city of Beijing showed roads and vehicles covered with what seemed like worms. According to the periodical, it is also noted that this type of occurrence happens after a storm when insects are caught up in a whirlpool. The Chinese government's authorities have not yet verified the causes. Some claim that the reports are false, while others back it up with evidence from science. They claim that while it is an uncommon occurrence, it is not impossible. The phenomenon is known as earthworm rain. Another strange meteorite event occurred in Namibia with the Hoba meteorite. This meteorite is pretty unique, unlike any other meteorite ever found on Earth. It was found in 1920 on Hoba West Farm, which is 19 kilometers west of Grootfontein in northern Namibia. The Hoba meteorite fell from the sky less than 80,000 years ago and has never been moved. The Hoba meteorite is thought to be the largest naturally occurring piece of iron on Earth. It's made up of about 82.3% iron, 16.4% nickel, and 0.8% cobalt. The meteorite weighed as much as 66 tons at one point, but scientists and souvenir hunters have removed bits of it over the years. In Chihuahua, Mexico, a bizarre incident occurred when a security camera caught the moment a flock of birds suddenly fell from the sky and died. The video showed a flock of yellow-headed blackbirds hitting the pavement in Chihuahua, about 230 miles south of El Paso, Texas. The footage showed the birds falling to the ground in a dramatic and mysterious manner in seconds. While most of the birds were able to fly back up, many were found dead on the ground, their bodies a mix of black and yellow. While many of the birds that had been heading south from Canada, where they had spent the winter, recovered from the fall and flew away, dozens of them were dead and didn't move. This strange event quickly went viral online, leading to various theories about what caused it. Local authorities haven't yet been able to determine the cause of the bird's sudden death. However, a veterinarian has suggested they may have inhaled toxic fumes from a heater or fallen victim to nearby power lines. Other theories about these phenomena include the possibility that the birds were electrocuted after hitting a power line, or that they were affected by something more far-fetched, like interference from 5G technology or even a collision with an invisible spaceship. In another fascinating event, a cosmic occurrence left a lasting mark in British Columbia. The Tagish Lake meteorite's dramatic descent offers another fascinating insight into the mysteries of our universe. The Tagish Lake meteorite fell at 1643 Universal Time Coordinated on January 18, 2000, in the Tagish Lake area in northwestern British Columbia, Canada. The meteorite was made up of fragments that landed on Earth after a large meteoroid exploded in the upper atmosphere at altitudes of about 50 kilometers, or approximately 31 miles. The explosion released about 1.7 kilotons of energy, similar to setting off 1.7 tons of dynamite. Most of the stony carbonaceous fragments landed on the Taku arm of the lake, where they came to rest on the frozen surface. The fireball and the high-altitude explosion set off a range of satellite sensors and seismographs. People who lived nearby said they could smell sulfur in the air after the explosion. Many people thought at first that a missile had caused the blast. What made this meteorite special was that it broke up into lots of tiny pieces as it entered our atmosphere, creating a shower of space rocks. These fragments landed in a snowy and icy area, which helped keep them in their original condition. Scientists were excited about this meteorite because it's a rare type called a carbonaceous chondrite, which contains valuable clues about the early solar system and the building blocks of life. Researchers have studied the Tagish Lake meteorite to learn more about its composition, including organic compounds and minerals that can shed light on the origins of the solar system. Another exciting meteorite was the Winchcombe meteorite. It's not often that Winchcombe makes the national news, let alone international media and TV, but the Winchcombe meteorite's arrival on the Wilcock family's tarmac driveway in February 2021 made international headlines. The Winchcombe meteorite is a carbonaceous chondrite meteorite that was spotted entering Earth's atmosphere as a green fireball over Gloucestershire, England, on February 28, 2021. Thanks to a public appeal, fragments from the village of Winchcombe were recovered quickly before they degraded. The Winchcombe meteorite, which fell to the ground in Gloucestershire, UK, after blazing a trail through the night sky, came from an asteroid that had been heavily altered by water and had been smashed apart and reformed multiple times. In total, 602 grams of material were collected. Despite its fiery journey, the Winchcombe meteorite fragments are as pristine as one could hope for. The meteorite's composition contains its secret history, which scientists can tease out with sophisticated transmission electron microscopy and techniques such as electron backscatter diffraction, time-of-flight secondary ion mass spectrometry, and atom probe tomography. Finally, there's the red rain phenomenon in Kerala, India. The red rain phenomenon began in Kerala, India, in July 2001 in various localized places across a few hundred kilometers. The rainwater appeared colored, with a majority of cases reported during the first 10 days and a few more occurring over about 2 months. The red color of the rainwater was found to be caused by tiny red particles that seem to be biological cells suspended in the water. These particles aren't like the usual desert dust. It is estimated that at least 50,000 kilograms of red particles fell from the sky during the red rain event. Further analysis shows that conventional atmospheric transport processes, like dust storms, can't explain this phenomenon. The electron microscope study of the red particles shows they have a fine cell structure, indicating they are biological and cell-like. The EDS analysis showed that the main elements in these cell-like particles are carbon and oxygen. Interestingly, a test for DNA using the ethidium bromide fluorescence technique indicated that there was no DNA in these cells. Given the suspected link between a meteor airburst event and the red rain, we discussed the possibility of these particles coming from cometary fragments. We've had reports of spiders falling from the sky in Brazil. There was a video doing the rounds on the internet showing a strange phenomenon in Santo Antonio de Platina, Brazil, where it looked like a group of social spiders were raining down from the sky. The summer in southeastern Brazil brought some pretty high temperatures and some rather unwelcome eight-legged visitors. People living in a rural area of southern Minas Gerais have reported seeing what they call a sky raining spiders. Experts say this is a normal occurrence in the region during hot, humid weather. This kind of thing usually happens when there are specific weather patterns often linked to strong winds or thunderstorms. Scientists think that this spider rain is caused by powerful updrafts and tornado-like conditions that can lift spiders into the air. These spiders are then carried over long distances before eventually falling back to the ground. The spiders themselves are often small and not harmful to humans, though their appearance in such large numbers can be quite startling. The Marfa lights, or Marfa mystery lights as some people call them, are one of the main reasons to visit Marfa. They attract visitors from all over the world who want to see these mysterious lights. People have been talking about this strange spectacle just east of Marfa since the 19th century, and it's still going on today. The Marfa lights, also known as the Marfa ghost lights, are a light phenomenon that can be seen regularly near Marfa, Texas in the United States. The Marfa lights were first reported in the 19th century and have intrigued locals and visitors for over 100 years. The Tunguska event is the largest impact event on Earth that we know of, though there were much larger ones in prehistoric times. It happened on June 30, 1908, in a remote area of Siberia. People living far away heard a huge blast and saw a bright flash in the sky. The explosion was so powerful that it flattened around 2,000 square kilometers of forest, knocking down about 80 million trees. Fortunately, the area was sparsely populated, so there were no confirmed human casualties. Scientists think the blast was caused by a big meteorite or comet exploding in the atmosphere before it hit the ground. The explosion released about 10 to 15 megatons of energy, making it one of the most significant natural explosions in recorded history. The event was so big that it was felt across Europe and Asia, and it took decades for researchers to study it in detail. The Taos hum. When researchers took a closer look at the Taos hum in the early 1990s in Taos, New Mexico, they found that at least 2% of the local population could hear it. Each hearer detected it at a different frequency between 32 and 80 Hz, modulated from 0.5 to 2 Hz. A similar study in Britain found that around 2% of the general population could hear this hum. We set up some sensitive equipment in the homes of several hearers to measure sounds and vibrations, but after extensive testing, nothing unusual was detected. People have come up with all sorts of ideas to explain what's going on, from the simple to the outlandish. Theories range from psychological factors to the paranormal, with some suggesting it might be the work of stoned hippies, secret government mind control experiments, underground UFO bases, and everything in between. There's also the case of spaceship junk in Australia. A large object was found on the shores of Western Australia a couple of weeks ago. It was confirmed to be debris from an Indian Space Research Organization (ISRO) rocket. ISRO has backed up the assessment, saying that debris could be from one of its Polar Satellite Launch Vehicle rockets. The huge canister has given rise to a number of theories since it was spotted on the coastline around 150 miles from Perth. The large object, which was found on an Australian beach, has been identified as debris from an Indian rocket. Dr. Alice Gorman, a space archaeologist from Flinders University, pointed out that while components of space rockets often have serial numbers, they can also be identified by their appearance. The Australian Space Agency is working with India's Space Agency to decide what to do with the debris, taking international space treaties into account. The United Nations says countries should return foreign space objects found in their territory to their owners, but Dr. Gorman said that retrieving the debris might not be in India's best interests. Falling iguanas in Florida. You may have heard the term falling iguanas, but have you ever wondered why this phenomenon occurs and when it typically happens? Iguanas are cold-blooded reptiles, which means their body temperature is regulated by the environment around them. When temperatures drop below 40 degrees Fahrenheit, these creatures can become immobilized or even stunned due to the cold as they perch on tree branches. The frigid conditions can cause their limbs to stop functioning, leading them to lose their grip and tumble from the trees, often appearing lifeless upon impact. At night, iguanas tend to sleep in the safety of trees. If it gets cold enough in the morning to make them feel like they're in a state of suspended animation, it can cause them to lose their grip on a branch, which means they fall as they give in to gravity. When temperatures drop into the 40s, iguanas can become completely immobile, which means they can fall out of trees without warning. If you find a fallen iguana, wildlife experts advise against touching it, as it is not truly dead. It just needs time to warm up before it can move again and get back to its normal activities. As the sun rises and temperatures rise, these amazing reptiles will start moving again and continue with their lives in the wild. While falling iguanas in Florida might raise eyebrows and cause concern, another astonishing weather phenomenon has captivated residents in Honduras for over a century. What if I told you that fish were falling from the sky? Would you believe me? Let's take a closer look at this incredible phenomenon and the science behind it. Fish rain in Honduras. The phenomenon, which is known as the rain of fish or lluvia de peces, literally translates as downpour of fish and is a remarkable event that has been occurring annually for more than a century in the town of Yoro, Honduras. During this extraordinary phenomenon, it is reported that fish seem to fall from the sky, creating an astonishing spectacle for the local residents. This unusual occurrence can happen up to 4 times in a single year, captivating the imagination of both locals and visitors alike. There's a scientific explanation for this curious event that seems to make sense. It's thought that waterspouts, which are tornado-like columns of air, can suck fish from the ocean and then fling them onto the land, particularly onto Yoro. This idea has gained a lot of support as the main explanation for the rain of fish and also for other cases of animals raining down across the globe. These have included creatures such as frogs, jellyfish, and even snakes. This has been happening for over a century during heavy rainstorms and is locally known as the rain of fish. During these incredible downpours, locals often find fish scattered across the ground, usually small varieties like tilapia, in astonishingly large quantities. Scientists think that these fish are probably caught up in strong winds or tornadoes that start in the ocean and then carry them over land before dropping them back down when the storm weakens. Despite all the different ideas that have been put forward to explain this phenomenon, we still don't know exactly what causes it. It's one of nature's many enduring mysteries. The rain of fish in Yoro is a great example of how the world can be full of unexpected and amazing things. It makes us want to find out more about the natural forces at work. The Dyatlov Pass incident. This is the story of 9 Soviet hikers who died in the northern Ural Mountains between 1st and February 2, 1959, but the circumstances surrounding their death are unclear. The experienced trekking group from the Ural Polytechnical Institute, led by Igor Dyatlov, had set up camp on the eastern slopes of Kholat Syakhl in the Russian SFSR of the Soviet Union. Overnight, they left their tent and fled the campsite despite being inadequately dressed for the heavy snowfall and sub-zero temperatures. The hikers might have been disoriented by a natural phenomenon like an avalanche or a wind phenomenon. Despite numerous investigations, no conclusive explanation has been found, and the case remains one of Russia's most intriguing mysteries. The Phoenix Lights. The Phoenix Lights were a series of widely sighted unidentified flying objects observed in the skies over the southwestern U.S. states of Arizona and Nevada on Friday night, October 28. 4 bright lights were seen and videotaped during a high school football game in Scottsdale, Arizona, near Phoenix. The strange lights, which were seen by hundreds of people and videotaped by at least 2 of them, seemed to move slowly in the sky, sometimes blinking randomly. The entire sighting lasted for about a minute and a half. Several explanations were given to explain the mysterious lights, ranging from helicopters to camera lens flares. But, of course, the favorite explanation was spacecraft. Did we finally have good video proof that aliens are visiting mankind? Purple sun in the UK. The UK experienced a stunning sky show due to powerful solar storms. Alongside the familiar aurora borealis, a unique purple light phenomenon was observed. Weather watchers sent in vivid images from the North Yorkshire coastline all the way down to Dorset, capturing the unusual weather conditions.